Welcome back to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison. Joining me on the show today is Cheryl Keddy-Scott, the Executive Director for Village of Hope in Niagara. We talked about housing before. We just started to lead into it. Let's show a clip from the house and then let's get your thoughts on housing.
Wonderful.
Not only have we always defended the CPP, the number of seniors requiring food banks was drastically lower when we were in government. Now, let me take a quote a British Columbian who reported to the Food Banks Canada report the following. The cost of housing is indescribable. Many of our users are paying 50% of their annual income in rent to provide for accommodations if they can find them, end quote. This is the housing hell that this Prime Minister and the NDP have caused after 8 years. Will he realize that we don't need more photo ops, we don't need more bureaucracy, we need more homes?
Le très honorable Premier Ministre.
Mr. Speaker, as the Leader of the Opposition has put forward no plan for housing, he lacks credibility on this issue. We are taking bold action to get more affordable homes built. Indeed, just today, the Minister of Housing is in British Columbia, is in Kelowna for our most recent Housing Accelerator announcement, which will streamline building permits and allow for high-density housing near public transit, spurring the construction of up to 20,000 new housing units over the next decade in Kelowna. We're also working with Kelowna to make city-owned lands available for housing in partnership with nonprofits, and we look forward to sign more agreements right across the country, delivering for Canadians on housing.
So we see the clip there on housing. They're saying like 50%. What are you seeing for the cost in this area of what housing could make up? And how does that compare to the percentage? So what did we say was for food now making up people's budgets?
Food budgets is 14,000, almost 15,000 a year just for food.
So now we got housing. So are you finding the same for housing in terms of the 50% number? Is that high or low?
It's incredible. Right now, St. Catharines and West Niagara is 11th highest rent housing costs in Canada.
Wow. Okay.
So that's huge. That has gone up incredibly. And one-bedroom apartment and a basement to that is averages 1,500. A two-bedroom is almost 1,900. So a family of four is 2,700. Village of Hope Niagara, our average rent right now is 1,500 to 2,700 a month.
Wow.
So that is huge.
And how much has that changed over the last few years? Is that doubled or is that just...
Well, I'll give you an example. One of my clients got an eviction notice saying the landlord's family was going to move in. So, there's a new policy. They have to move out within a year with the landlord, his family moving in. They moved out. They were paying $950. Over a year later now, that same place is $2,800.
Wow. Like almost 3 times.
3 times a month. And many people, again, people are moving out of our community looking. I have families living in hotel rooms and everything else because they can't afford to get into the market even of renting. It's really sad.
Well, it must make it really tough on the family in terms of stability if they don't have a home or they're moving from a home to another community in terms of, you're trying to go to work and provide a stable environment. That must make it very difficult.
You know what? It's really putting a divide between the haves and the have-nots. It's clear in our education system with the kids going to school that we're helping out. It's really even evident in, the tents that we see up going around. But it's the people that you don't see, the people that are in their homes, probably late on their rent and everything, come to see Village of Niagara for rent subsidies and everything else. But it's really tough. It's really hard out there, and it's not getting any better. And we talk about affordable housing. The government talks about they're building all these homes, affordable homes. Well, you drive by many of these subdivisions and there's a sign that says affordable housing. Define affordable. Affordable housing is not starting at $450,000 for my families.
Yeah, no, that's expensive. And the other thing too, you mentioned, we were talking about people being forced out of their homes. Like I'm guessing rent, you said it's high, it's gone up, but it must be also tough to find rentals, period. Like I guess the housing market's pretty tight. Is that?
Yeah, we used to have a huge board at Village of Hope, and we would list all the places for rent and everything. We don't even have that board. It doesn't even exist. I have a landlord registry with about 280 names of landlords in our area, and we call them diligently to say, look, I have a family, wonderful family, we'll vouch for them, we need a place. And they're like, no, we don't have anything available. They get a family in there. If someone can afford that $2,800, they're going to stay there. And it's really unfortunate. Again, like I say, over the past 2 years, our families are moving out to other communities and upraising their kids out of school and all their supports and family. It's sad.
And I'm guessing as well that if they're able to move out and find another place, then it puts additional pressure on where they work and how they get to work and all those things.
Well, transportation is a whole other issue, Dean, that we could talk about.
All right. Well, listen, when we come back from break, let's talk about the whole cost of living issue as well. I think we could talk about the heat and all those other things that we haven't actually mentioned just yet when we come back from break.
Absolutely. Thanks.